Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on November 3rd. Hey, I didn't scream, and that's better, but it's November 3rd, 2021. I will note that our old friend Derek Zeller is the guest today, and our new friend Clang.so. That's an ATS he wants you to check out. We're using the name of his product instead of his name. Clang.so, Ivan Gulenko, an IT recruiter in Switzerland. He's here is ready already. Other people are probably going to join us in a little while. I'm going to start off with a bit of an ad for the Recruiting Animal Show. Is that okay with you, Derek?
Sure, absolutely.
But actually, I'll note something on your LinkedIn. I like critiquing LinkedIn profiles, even though most people don't. Oh, Rich, I've got to dig right into this.
What's up, buddy?
Actually, I'll come back to your LinkedIn. I want to say this week someone posted on my Facebook group. I think it was my group. They said, "Can you recommend any recruiting podcasts?" Right, and a bunch of people answered, and Rich Rosen was the only person who said the Recruiting Animal Show. One person said the Recruiting Animal Show. Can you believe it? So I got to do some propaganda. So I wrote a little ad that I'm gonna use at the beginning of the show. Okay, are you ready, everybody? Here goes. If you've ever struggled with self-doubt about cold calls or sending emails to someone's work address, there's a podcast you might want to listen to. It's called The Recruiting Animal Show. This show has visits from some of the most famous recruiters in the world and some who aren't so famous but should be. And you know what? They've all had challenges and failures, and you'll get to hear the real raw stories behind them, including the tools they've used and the books they've read and the people who've made a difference in their lives so they can make a difference in yours. Some of the more recent topics we've discussed have been email, text, or email. Sorry, I can't. It's so exciting. Email, text, or email address finders, favorite subject lines, and counter offers. So, hey, come on, start listening today at recruitinganimalshow.com. I mean, who could resist it now? I mean, I got to get at least 2 recommendations, not just Rich. But thank you very much, Rich. And I have a gift. I have a gift for you. Okay. I wasn't satisfied with the URL I gave you as a regular on the show. So now it's cold call. Is it, what did I say it was? Coldcallrecruiter.com?
I think so.
Coldcallrecruiter.com is going to take you to Rich, who's like a god for Clang over here. Okay, you want to see Rich's? Is he really worth all that praise? Go to coldcallrecruiter.com. Now back to our friend Derek Zeller. Okay, you've got yourself in Derek Zeller, Just Human. Okay, look, what's with this Just Human stuff? Why are you so modest?
It was kind of making a smite joke towards
a smite joke. What does that mean?
Slight joke.
Okay.
The he, she, I'm this not gender biased crap.
Okay. Because I saw a recruiter just posted it. He puts on his "I can change your life." I mean, that's a little more exciting than Just Human. Okay, no one's getting your joke anyway. I didn't get it. How about that? I can change your life. Does anybody, Derek? Let's do a little poll. I can change your life. Put that in your headline on LinkedIn. Do you like it? Yes or no, Derek Zeller?
No, because there's no guarantee you can change my life.
Rich Rosen, you like confident people. I can change your life. Yes or no? No, that's a no. Clang.so, Clang.so, I can change your life.
Look, if the other stuff is good as well.
That's another no. TheSalesRecruiter.com, raise your hand, Michael G. Cox.
You gave him the good one. That's the problem. You gave him the good one. Mike, come on, really. Not that he stood up for you, Animal, but it's all right.
He picked that himself.
Yeah, I could change your life, but I should probably create the asterisk that says it's probably not going to be for the best.
Yeah, there you go.
That was really funny.
Okay. I got to tell you, on Twitter, that guy's very popular. Okay. Now, Derek, to my surprise, I didn't realize. I always think of Derek as an IT. I always think of Derek as an IT recruiter, but he's actually recruiting recruiters right now. Is that right, Derek? Yes or no?
I know I am and I'm not. I came on board originally to do that, and now lanes got changed because we're opening up 2 new cities, Tampa Bay and Boston.
Hey, how
right
about a
now.
clear answer? Get to the point. You've known this show long enough that I don't know, like rambling. I ask them, are you recruiting recruiters right now? No. Yes or no? No.
I think
Okay.
I think we all are recruiting recruiters.
No,
right now.
nobody's recruiting
No one's
recruiters
recruiting
here.
recruiters.
No one's recruiting recruiters here.
Dude,
Okay.
everybody needs recruiters. Are you crazy?
Yeah, I know. I got to tell you, Jobs for Recruiters, my Facebook group for recruiting jobs. There's tons of people joining every day. Down in the corner there is Ernie. Raise your hand. Foodindustryrecruiter.com. Get rid of your ceiling. Hey, you've been on the show long enough to know how to adjust your camera. Okay.
Don't go down. God.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you, Derek, all kinds of questions about, what questions do you ask recruiters? What are you looking for? But you're saying you're not recruiting recruiters. So I should pass on those questions. Is that right?
Well, I am in the process of recruiting management. So
Okay.
directors.
Well, I've read numerous times. I'm sure everyone here would agree with me. People who recruit recruiters say they're the worst candidates ever. Okay. They're very uncooperative. Well, what does that mean? They're the worst.
Well, especially in this market right now. A quick history lesson. Recruiters have been treated like garbage for the last probably 15, 20 years of my career.
I'm playing my violin.
Hey, I'm just telling you now. Now all of a sudden they're the beautiful blonde at the end of the bar that everybody's hitting on.
Sexist.
And they're kind of giving companies vinegar instead of honey. And
does that mean they have to not show up when they make an appointment with you? I mean, really?
I've never had a recruiter not show up.
You're kidding. That's what they're famous for.
Well, they're famous because they're going after companies that have mistreated recruiting for years.
Okay.
We're a small startup. Well, we're not small anymore, but what we're doing and what we're listening to, and I listen to them. I say, listen, let's not waste each other's time. I don't want to get together with you if we're not going to go down this road. I mean, here's the job description. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about financial. I do the same thing I do with any candidate. I just treat them the same way, and I get a lot of respect because of it.
So you're not telling us how lousy these guys are. Let me move on. What do you think of this statement?
That's not what he wanted to hear.
No,
I know, right?
Not what I wanted to hear.
Michael G. Cox.
Hey, you can call me a jerk anytime if it helps you in this show.
Well, let's put $5. He says jerk somewhere for you.
I know. I never say that. Okay. What do you think of this statement? I speak the truth, and speaking the truth is not selling. Someone who, lots of recruiters say they don't sell because recruiting.
Those are morons.
Really? Why is that, Rich Rosen? I've got
Why
some
is that? Because recruiting is all sales. It's a fucking sales job. It's very simple.
We're gonna go down this road again. Like how many shows?
No, well, hold on a second.
Hey, Derek,
Hold
what year was the last year you were on the recruiting animal show?
Exactly, Derek. Come on.
Hold on. Hold on
Do you
a
think
second.
things have changed since then?
Wait a second. Okay. It's true. And Rich knows this, and Alan Fleur knows this. They answer these questions all the time on Facebook. People say, what's the best contact, email and phone number finder? Okay. And so look at all the replies. People are telling you what's wrong with this one, what's wrong with that one. If you talk to those vendors, you wouldn't get that information, a 360 review. The people who are selling this stuff don't tell the truth. They put their best foot forward. They hide the rest. That's what most people think selling is. Am I right, Rich Rosen, who's defending selling?
I'm not sure if you're right or wrong. All I know is recruiting is sales. If you don't think it's sales, you're in the absolute wrong business.
Derek, you don't want to answer this. Everybody's finished with that. They don't want to talk about that.
It is sales, and I do tell them, this one doesn't seem right for you.
Yeah,
I did that yesterday.
Selling is not a dirty word. You're selling,
and I'm not trying to trick anybody,
yeah.
but I do have to present an opportunity. Hey, man, this is why I think this would be a great opportunity for you. And then at the end of the conversation yesterday, no, this one doesn't make sense.
Right.
What are you saying?
But that's selling.
You're going on with the assumption that perception creates reality. There's no real history behind it. I think both Rich and Michael agree with me. If you're selling a product that you believe in, if you're selling a company that you believe in, that's going to come through to the candidate. And if you don't fit that, or they don't fit it, then just move on.
Well,
And tell them.
Today it's my name, and that's a very important thing for me. And worldwide, is I don't lie. I don't tell them it can do X, Y, Z when it can't do X, Y, Z, or this
It's
position
all
is
about
gonna do
reputation.
this or do that. This is what you're doing.
Yes.
It's all black and white.
Because Derek, if Derek tells him it does X, Y, and Z when actually it doesn't, he's gonna lose that sale 3 months in.
That's not the point I made, Michael G. Cox. That's not the point I made. If you just tell them all the good things about the company and not mention the bad things,
you don't do that.
Because you tell them the whole story. You tell them the truth.
Here's the thing: if you do that, you only tell them the rose-colored glasses stuff.
Yeah,
they're gonna flip on you 30 before your guarantee is up.
Give me an example. Give me an example.
Screw guarantee. Even if they make it past that 90 days, and then they leave the organization, you think your client is going to be really tickled pink to work with you again? So you have to make sure it's a great match, and you have to tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Tell me, hold on. Tell me when you've talked to a candidate, hey, I want to tell you about this position. Here's what's good about it. Here's what isn't. Okay. This is what I like about the company, and this is what I don't.
Every day.
Animal.
Yesterday. You in a second.
this
guy. You got to speed this thing up.
This guy tells me, hey, he's looking for another job. Great. What's got you looking? And no opportunity for advancement within my organization. Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you about this organization. And by the way, you're not going to be able to move forward from this first role for at least 1 year. Right. After that, you might be able to.
That's not bad. Tell me something bad about that company. Rich Rosen, over to you. You're bragging now that you tell them everything.
I do.
When was the last time you said, hey, here's what's bad about this?
Literally the other day, I have a client I just placed like 3 guys with. It's like the VP of sales just left, the RVP just left. There's all sorts of shit going on at this particular company. But if you put your blinders on, they can still do really well. And the commissions are great and everything else. So people
you actually told the guy that?
100%. This is why I've had 7 fall-offs in 26 years, because everyone knows what they're walking into. There's no lies. There's no BS. This is the facts. This is what it is.
Well, you also say it's because if you think the company's lousy, you walk away before you put anybody in there. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't think he's ever encountered a perfect organization.
Everybody's never.
Okay,
do you do this as default? Like, do you never forget to say, like, okay, so the company is in this sector, you have to do these kind of things. And by the way, what really sucks is just like these 3 people that your manager just changed and stuff like that. They just say this as default, or do you say this if the conversation naturally goes into that direction?
I'm not going to. I will tell them the story. Like in this case, where the leadership is left, and it's a big, that can be a major flag. And it's if they're any good, it's gonna come up eventually anyway. So you want to head off the negative first, instead of letting them find out on their own. You bring it up, you can defend it. If you don't bring it up, now you look like a liar.
When you and Michael G. Cox, I want to get to Ernie and Klang and Mario as well, but when you 2 raise the bad issues, do they ever say, well, Rich, you know what? Now that you've told me everything, I think I'll back off.
And then what you say?
Yeah, I said, listen, I get it. It's not for everyone. It takes the strong to survive. You got to be able to, if you're going to be in sales, you got to put the blinders on. But I understand the risk they're sitting in. They're taking. And most of the guys that I'm recruiting are not in an active search. So there's reasons that they want to leave their company, which you will mention again.
This is news to me, and I'll just mention I've got Rich's scheduled. I don't know if we'll get to it. Rich's advice on making cold calls, and it's always, hey, use high energy. Hi, it's Rich Rosen. I've got a great opportunity. It's not I've got a so-so opportunity, or I've got a shitty opportunity, or
there's a reason why he called.
Give me a minute. You're gonna hate this.
Or I don't know if this is for you, but maybe, okay? before
I
we
will
go
say,
to-
I will say, I don't know if it's for you. And that one I do say, actually.
That's not what you post. Maybe, you
in
know,
the
someone
North
says-
American
I didn't write everything
culture-
I've ever said.
in the North American culture, where everything and everyone by default is awesome and everything is wonderful, wouldn't you stand out by actually saying something like, "Hey, okay, this thing actually sucks about
Yeah.
this and this thing, but still, hey, it might be a good." Like,
You
it
know
might
what,
be a
never
there,
good,
know.
you know?
Derek? You should, instead of saying just human, you should say, I'm the honest recruiter. I'm the
Yeah.
honest recruiter.
I am the
Who would
honest
believe
recruiter.
you? Okay. Who would believe you? Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com. Do you tell people as a rule what's wrong with the companies you're recruiting for? Who's listening on the thing? So I don't want to hear myself when I talk to you.
Hey, we don't want to hear you.
Yeah, really.
That's a good one.
That was cold even by my standards.
Ernie, do you have something to say, or should I move on? Or the last time he didn't know how to turn on his mic, he's going backwards.
He's regressing.
Yeah, okay, he's okay.
Yeah, you can't hear
Mario,
you.
Mario, do you tell
Yeah.
people what's wrong with your clients? Is that Mario? It's so dark.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah, it's
Mario
fine.
or
Hey,
Mario?
understand, it's Mario or Mario. It goes either way. It doesn't matter.
See, it's not the
Okay?
Canadian version.
You're
I
not the
can't
Canadian
see
version,
him.
yeah.
That's maybe
Listen,
it's a
listen,
shadow. I don't know.
listen. I'm traveling right now. I'm in my wife's place. Don't expect good clarity. Okay, that's how it works.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my hands up.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't open my mouth. I keep my mouth shut there. Let them figure it out.
Can you hear me now?
He's a typical
Yes.
salesman. He's a
I
real
know.
salesman. Okay.
And that's how you
Thank
get
you.
follow-ups. Yep.
Derek Zeller.
Yeah, that's
now
true.
That's,
That's true.
Derek
how you
Zeller.
I'll
get,
agree with you. on
well,
that.
that's how you get follow-ups, or you get a broken heart at the end of the process.
he's making 3%
That's
on
actually very true.
on a deal. He doesn't care.
Dude,
Okay.
I don't do 3%, dude. For God's sakes, are you crazy or what?
That's what it sounded like you told us a few weeks ago.
You didn't
I'll
say
take
3%.
I'll take an enema, but I'm not taking 3%. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. But back to Derek
Oh,
Zeller for a
You
second.
just hurt my.
These
my back
people
thinking
have
about
soft. They've explained what they're like. Or Derek, do you do the same thing? Say, look, here's the negatives for you. Do you do that on your first call?
Absolutely. Well, not on my first call, but as we progress, currently, yes. In fact, my last project that I was on, I found a developer they've been looking for over a year. It's a very specialized software. He currently was living at the time in Costa Rica, so I had to follow his IP address around the world.
His
But we
neighbors
got
with
on the-
Nick Livingston.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up, you Nick? The interesting thing is like I knew the climate of the company. It's a startup, but it also was a startup that had sold. And they were being transferred or absorbed by this very large French company that was based out of France. And I didn't know what was going to happen in January. My director didn't know what was going to happen in directory. And I found out about that in our process. So I let the candidate know right away, saying, hey, listen, even though you're coming with ABC company, it's then going to now be a shelter company of this other much larger conglomerate. So there's, I can't guarantee certain things. And we went through a lot of different hoops. It was kind of a nightmare to get the guy even started. But he really, really, really wanted the job because he really wanted to work with the manager and the other team member. Because they were very well.
That is dangerous. Okay. There's been lots of times when people take a job for the manager and the manager's interviewing somewhere else while this guy's interviewing with you. Okay. That isn't that a
I had
risk?
that conversation with managers all the time.
They're going to tell you?
If they are, then I don't put their positions technically at a high level or a high risk level of losing. I move on to other positions.
Hold on. Do you ask the manager, hey, this person really, my candidate wants to work there because of you. Are you going to be there for the end of next year? Do you actually say that?
Yeah, that's how I found out about the company being sold. Because the manager,
I don't think most hiring managers would tell you that. Anybody else want to come in? You say that you don't want to listen to me, but when here I'm opening it up, somebody else chime in.
But
Okay.
that's a danger you always have when you're an employee. The company will be sold, managers will move, your boss is going to change, the president's going to change. But and one day you could be the king or the queen of the world, and the following day you're scum because a new person's come in and they bring in their own people. That's why we got a job. That's why we do recruiting.
Ernie, one small thing. This can apply also to us, you know.
What was
I
that?
had a customer who was no, I said this can apply to us also. I mean, we also can be affected
Oh,
by
okay.
it. For example, if a small customer of ours is acquired by a larger customer, what happens is they will bring their process, their whole jing bang over, and we'll also get affected, right? I mean, it's not like.
Well, I've heard of
Not only-
I've heard of situations where you're working with one company, it gets sold, and the placement happens, but the new company that owns it, they don't want to pay you because you were never.
It happens.
Yes, crashed again.
Ever anybody else heard of that kind of situation? Is that
Whoa.
Yeah.
He's back.
who else? Okay, okay. So that was me. Oh,
Wow.
okay. Now it says in the
I'm
middle of
glad
our
I wasn't the
screen.
only one. I'm like, wait a
Okay,
minute. What happened?
Clang, you got something to say, Clang?
On
You need
what?
to clang.
No, you don't have to. Okay. Anybody else want to ask Derek a question or raise an issue since I'm so uninteresting?
Derek, I have a question. You work internal, right?
Yes, I do.
Mainly. Okay, can I ask you a question? How would a recruiter have to, a recruiting company approach an internal recruiter to work with a company? What would be the best approach in your opinion?
Find out if they are actually
Aside from the
using-
phone.
You call
Find
them.
out if they're actually using external recruiters.
Okay.
If you go to like, I love to do this for Recruiting Animal, but if you go to like Recruiting Animals page, just the recruiters page, not the recruiters looking for jobs or whatever. There's tons of people that will go out there and say, hey, we're thinking about using a third party, or we're thinking about, using something offshore for doing our sourcing and our recruiting. Where have you had success? Where have you had failure? This is where people don't really get it, is that we are, as a community, are pretty tight knit, and we're going to talk about you. We're going to say that, yeah, I had a great time with Ernie Moreno's company, doing off-sourcing for people in the restaurant industry, because that's their speciality. What do you bring to the table?
Like, what is distinguishing like somebody who you like stop working with? It's like, hey, don't send us any more resumes. Thank you. Bye.
When it's
Someone who
completely
have
off,
a long relationship.
when it's completely off the mark. For example, there's a position here in Portland that opened up through a very large chip manufacturing company in Hillsborough, and I got probably, and I'm not really making this up. Recruiting Animals say I'm making this up. I'm not. I think I got about 25 emails from offshore companies, all wanting me to come and interview for a 6-month contract to hire, blah, blah, blah. And so, I'm always looking for the local community, which is not a big recruiting community in the Portland.
You know what? I didn't interrupt, but you didn't answer his question. I'm moving on.
I'm getting
Sorry.
right to it. No, I'm answering it right now.
Okay, 5 minutes
Those
later,
are the
go ahead.
companies that I'm not going to work with, because they're just basically throwing noodles against the wall and hope it sticks.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
irrelevant
that's kind of
profiles,
pointless.
essentially.
I can do that myself.
So the biggest turn off for you with an agency is irrelevant profiles?
Yeah, give me, don't just send me a resume and say, hey, do you want to talk to this person? Do your due diligence, just like I do with my company. This is the reason why you want to talk to this person. This is what they're looking for financially. They're in the local area, so they don't have to move.
So commentary about the person, this is what turns you really on, that like, hey, there is
that
really
would turn me on.
about...
Yeah.
Lots of these guys internal. Lots of them internal say, don't send me anything unsolicited. Okay. So what turns him on doesn't. Now, here's the person we have to talk to about internal recruiters. Rich Rosen. Okay. I got
that one.
That was awesome, man. I got so many quotes by him. Okay, but I'm going to isolate one to start off with.
That was a very old quote you posted, by the way.
There's plenty of others. Okay. Oh, things have changed. Rich.
No. It's still relevant today. I'll agree with that.
Rich loves it. Okay. Rich says, how come they have to rescreen the people, these internal recruiters, they have to rescreen the people I've just screened. It's absurd, okay? Did you
Waste
say
of
that,
time.
Rich? Or
I
you
did.
gonna
It's a
back
waste
away
of time,
from it?
especially in this market. If you're going to pay a recruiter $30,000 to find someone, what is the point of the internal rescreening them? It's a waste of time, and you'll lose the candidate because you're taking making the process extra long.
Agreed 100,000,000%. Like it's they
Oh.
check off lists anyway, like ridiculous stuff like,
Ex-
hey, can you relocate? Do you have like the visa?
Yeah.
So it's like
I
always, like,
appreciate
No, no,
all
no,
what
no.
everybody is saying here, and I
Exactly.
agree.
I mean, they
But-
did their job is just check boxes. If they fit, send them to the hiring manager. Let them make the decision. Damn morons! I swear to God, dealing with those morons. I am telling you, one dumbass female joined after 1 year from college. Is an internal recruiter. She's just rejecting candidates at a rate. Hey, they fit the bill. You. Let me see the teet sound.
But how do you really feel, Mario?
Huh?
Kidding.
somebody
need to
give
be a
Mario
bad
like a education thing about like what to use. Which
Okay,
words,
Michael
which
G.
to
Cox
use.
used to be internal. He's burning before
Really,
we
I
take it
can't
back
imagine
to
that.
Zeller.
Michael
G.
G.
Cox,
being internal.
what did you
Wow.
want to say? Okay.
It's
Yeah,
impossible
okay.
to imagine.
Totally agree with everything that Rich and, as you call, Clang was saying. I agree with like half of what Mario said because it just scared me a lot. But you got to wonder, why do they do that? And the reason is they've probably dealt with a lot of shit recruiters in the past that sent them
100%.
shitty candidates, and now they got to verify everything because maybe the last time that they said they just sent the pass through like we feel they should because we know our stuff.
Rich
They
has
got
an answer
burnt.
to that. I'll speak in for
Absolutely.
Rich because I can't count on him.
And
He
I
said,
agree
look,
on this point with Amy Miller because she says like this recruiter people, they always say, oh, the other people are so dumb, blah, blah, blah. And really, we have to look at ourselves a little bit more. And Michael G. Cox
okay,
is right.
you know what?
Probably
He's
these
going to
people are
fight
fun.
Amy Miller next week, but he's already
Bro,
he's backing
hey,
off, okay?
I've
I
been-
am signing up for that.
Not
Okay,
true.
I'm bringing the popcorn.
Hey,
So would,
listen,
would you all agree that there are a lot of internal recruiters right now that are rookies? That,
Yes,
that
that
they
is the-
just, they just
that is
changed the
the-
title on them.
they
Sorry,
exist to
that's
make
what I'm
people
saying.
like Derek look good.
That's what
Oh,
I'm trying
yeah.
to say, guys. Guys, 1 second, hold up. That's what I'm trying to say. A candidate with just 1 year of internal recruiting experience can't judge a candidate the way we have done for 10 years.
But they hired him
20
anyway.
plus.
Yeah, that's the
And
fun.
they
I
call
mean,
him
after
and they call him a recruiter. And everyone says that everybody's always the same. Every recruiter.
no. The
exactly the
problem
same.
is the bar to I mean the entry to you can become a recruiter easily. You just that's totally different from actually being a good recruiter. Okay.
Okay, let
Even
me.
I learned only
let me
7
come
Well,
years.
back.
let
Okay,
me ask. With that said, let me ask Derek a question. Derek,
yeah, go ahead.
you do the internal recruiting. Do you prefer to work by yourself, being the recruiter for a company, or do you prefer to have a team under you?
I'll be completely honest. I prefer to be by myself. I've done this long enough, but on the other side of it is I'd like to lift people up. I turn around and I lift up new recruiters or younger recruiters or people that are struggling. I mentor recruiters on the side that I don't talk about that aren't even part of my company or my industry. I mean, I want them to be, I want our industry to be better than it is. And it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because now you've got companies, the big four IT companies in California and Washington State, they hire you because you went to Stanford and got a degree in basketball.
Always been like that. It's not worse than it was.
I know, but there's no training. There's none, there's training. There's training their way.
I've been waiting 5 minutes to get this out. Okay,
You need your own show, Animal.
Rich has an answer. Rich has an answer to that one that Michael G. Cox's objection. Okay, the salesrecruiter.com. Rich, I'm going to quote him. I'll actually
Bring
quote.
it.
He said, if I have proven myself to that company as someone who brings value to the table every time, in caps, okay, every is in caps, what's the point of the internal rescreening a candidate that's already been screened? Okay, if your internal
And that's just one example, one situation. It's not always, I've already proven myself 10 times. Why do you have your internal people screening?
If the hiring manager says, hey, listen, I want Michael G. Cox for some crazy reason to work on that search, why? Obviously,
crazy reason. What do you mean crazy reason?
Yeah, hey, I didn't.
Shit, man.
But if the hiring manager says, listen, I want Michael working on that search. Clearly
Because he's good at what he does.
Exactly. We have a, because he thinks he's good at what he does.
Because he's crazy.
Because he, because he has an experience with Michael. Michael did well by him in the past. He doesn't send him garbage. Like all my clients know, if I'm working on it, I'm going to send you 3 or 4 people. They're on the mark or they're not getting sent. All right. If the manager's saying, this is who I want to work with, there's really, and this is no offense to internal recruiters whatsoever, because there are some good internal recruiters,
Okay.
But you got to be, it's just in this market, it's going too fast. You got 2.5 weeks to hire someone in this market.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks, you got like 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
For developers, for sure.
My God, back-end development right now, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like software front-end development,
Is it unique though, guys, just to external recruiters and internal recruiters, that dynamic? Because I think it's wider than that. Like if you take look inside an agency, you've got a junior. I think back on my first day as recruiting in New York, like I was a junior recruiter. I'd have a great call with a candidate. I'd hang up the phone. I'd turn to my boss who actually heard half the conversation and said, Jay, I just talked to an amazing engineer. And he looks at the resume, looks at me, he's like, nah, that's not what we're looking. I'm like, I'm telling you. What is Jay? He needs another 15-minute call 2 days later to hear it for himself, right? And then we're like, okay, let's submit him to the account manager. Account manager looks at us, looks at the resume, goes, you guys know what you're doing. It's not what we're looking for. He needs to talk to the candidate, right? 3 calls with the candidate within an agency. Then what we do, we all agree, oh, thanks, guys, but you're right. Good job. We'll submit him to the client.
Mhm.
Internal corporate recruiter, gatekeeper, doesn't trust any of us, needs to hear it for themselves.
If only there was a tool that we could use that would do this for us.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's this. How many licks does it take to get 8 people to agree that a candidate is worth consideration?
Okay.
That's what you're talking
You're
about.
right. You're absolutely right. But the point is, if you've got, if you're going to pay someone $30,000 a consultant, if we all said we were at Deloitte or Accenture, they would take it and say, all right, good, go run with it. All right. But since you're not Deloitte or Accenture, they're like, oh my God, we have to go screen it. Most of it's because power struggle, not
It's
because
trust.
it's trust, it's power struggle. But if you're getting referred into it, the trust should already be there. And the internal should go work on a different project instead of competing with the external. And it's not a good use of time for the company, not a use of time, money.
Well, that's probably how you qualify your recs, right? If you were going to stack
Oh, yeah.
rank, hey, this opportunity, I'm going to focus on the ones I can close. It's going to be, do I have direct access to the hiring manager or not? And then at the very opposite side of the spectrum, am I submitting this to an MSA or some vendor management tool? I have zero visibility into that whole
I just
process.
throw it in.
Rich,
If it's going into an ATS, I just throw it in there. I don't write anything up. I'm like, screw it.
Here's a
That's how
resume.
you know it.
Rich,
Yeah.
but the people you're talking about, the ones that are rescreening your screens, are they people that you worked with before, or are they just a new internal recruiter?
It's the internal recruiters at the companies that screen my people. I don't really have many, to be honest with you, because I won't work on them. But so it's usually the manager's bringing me in. So he trusts me. So then they're inherently trusting me. Some companies, they'll want to rescreen it. And then I call the manager and then they clean it up because it's a waste of time.
Why don't you just send it directly to the manager?
Because then you get, I do that anyway. I CC the manager, because then you get your hands slapped by internal recruiters. Then you got to go through the whole, hissy fit over, oh my God, you're taking over my job. You're trying to go around me.
like just do
So-
blind carbon copy. Like I
Yeah,
had to.
I send it over to them. Sometimes we blind it, but it's just, I'd rather just be up and open with the internals and work as a partner than work as someone that's trying to go around them or someone they think you're going around them, because that's not the intention. If you work together, you can get the jobs filled a whole lot quicker than trying to fight City Hall over every stupid thing, like who's going to send the invite out, all that
Is it
stuff.
right that the incentive, like why they are always so slowing down everything, is does the internal recruiters, they actually get measured on the fact that they saved money not working with agencies. So at the end of the year, they're like, hey, we filled all these roles, like you just saved us so much agency
It's
money.
a nice, fun stat, and people hang their hat on it a bit when they're internal.
And not one
Oh, yeah.
that doesn't resonate with every company.
No, it
A lot of
doesn't.
Managers have the pain. They need it
coffers. A lot of companies have coffers that have designed to have Rich Rosens or Michael G. Cox, any or
For some
third-party
crazy
Mario Kart. They've got that. The issue really is, for me as a recruiter, is I've been there, done that. My t-shirt's falling apart. So if I don't have trust, which I do in a Rich Rosen or a Michael G. Cox, Marty, I've never worked with you before, but I know these guys. I know they know their stuff. I don't need to do anything
Okay,
other
but he
than
said, Rich said it's a revolving door. Let me introduce the two new guys and then we'll come back there. First of all, Nick Livingston, we're going to do an ad for Hone It, not right now. But your ears must have been burning because Derek said he just recruited a guy in Costa Rica. That Hone It is HONEIT.com.
IT.com.
HONEIT.com. That's right. The online interview technology. I'll do a longer ad later. Here's Andrew Godomsky, okay? The guy who called the show last time he was on from a hotel room, so I had to pay him $100 later on for the long distance fee, okay? No $100 today, okay? US, just so you know.
Wow.
I'm
my
calling
phone
in
bill
long
too.
distance.
I don't think I've
I
loved
guess
Andrew
the
more.
memory bank is long with Michael. My God, dude.
That one hurt, didn't it?
Woo.
Wow.
I don't think
Okay.
I've loved Andrew more than with that comment from recruiting animal right now.
Okay.
That was
So,
pretty
Rich-
freaking awesome.
So hold on a second. So you're saying, Derek, I mean, like, I just want to read it. This Rich Rosen has such beautiful things to say. I got to say, he said the best way to, he's talking about working with internal recruiters. He says the
Hates
best way to
internal
be
recruiters.
successful in this business is to remember you can walk away from the garbage. Sorry. And focus on clients that appreciate the quality you provide. Okay. And he told you they're a revolving door. It's not like he's going to run into somebody who knows him well every time he deals with the same company. And so it's a more general statement. You said, if I know Michael G. Cox, I'm happy. I can trust him. Okay. Anybody else got anything to say about how terrible? I'm going to quote you, Derek. Okay, because you had a very powerful statement as well. Somebody said the best recruiters will always go independent, and Derek Zeller said this is by far the most arrogant, self-delusional statement I've read in a very long time. Educate yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh,
Marty,
man.
You say that?
I got to tell you, if you want to get a lot of dates, that's a good thing to say, because there's all kinds of women saying, thank you, Derek. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. You want to back that up, Derek? You want to?
I've been
Okay, is
proven
that it?
wrong. I've been proven wrong by a couple of recruiters that were internal that went external and are doing quite well. My situation is pretty simplistic.
You, Michael.
I'm not talking
Not me.
about you, Cox. You complain to me every week, Michael. I mean, come on. No, what I see is like, the market's turn, right? Right now,
Yes.
recruiters are the most sought after thing, even over software, even over doctors, which what I've been working on, and nurses. It's interesting. Eventually that the flip side will come up, and if you're solid at what you do and you have a good clientele and you have a good name in the industry, then yeah, I think that an independent can do well.
Okay.
As long as they know they're covering their coffers.
Godomsky he's got data on everything. Okay. He's a numbers man. You want to comment? You got anything to say so far? Internal versus external quality?
Yeah, I don't think that I don't see any differences in terms of internal or external. This is an independent recruiter, thereby they're better at it. First of all, you're still dealing with the same hiring manager groups. You could have a pain in the ass hiring manager and you'd be an external recruiter and be independent, and you're still not going to get the hire done as fast as somebody else, where the hiring manager is just more amenable, a better partner, all the things. So, I don't think there's this argument of internal versus external is a very good one. The other thing is there's so many jobs right now for internal recruiters. You want to go work for a great company, execute a mission, you believe in their brand, they're going to give you benefits, they're going to give you daycare, they're going to give you whatever you need because they're not independent. There's a lot of people who say, oh, I would only be an independent recruiter. That doesn't work for everybody's, pocketbook. That doesn't work for their personal situation. You know, there's plenty of great companies out there.
Okay, you
that
made your
have-
point. Fine,
Yeah.
thanks.
That's
Okay.
it.
It's just whether or not you want to be an employee or not. That's it.
That's right.
You know, and it's all your stress level. Because I hear all this stuff on Facebook about recruiters talking about the stress and
Yeah.
it's crazy. You know, if you don't like it, change companies. Go somewhere else.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I've always said that.
Can you walk from one company? These guys are giving you like 60 recs. Mario.
Animal, I think it's like this entrepreneur thing, you know, like everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. That craze.
Do you also
Okay,
think
does it
it
make any
has
sense?
something to do with, I mean, even the group here, you guys are all experienced recruiters. You're very great. You're subject matter experts in what you do. Do you think it's hard to clone yourself in recruiting?
100%.
Rich hasn't had any luck.
I had someone for
Right.
6 years, Animal. 6 years I had someone work for me.
I never heard that before. You pulled
Oh,
that
yeah,
one
yeah,
out of
she-
your hat.
Amy Miller is
Oh.
connecting.
She crushed it.
This
for
is gonna
6
be
years.
fun.
She crushed it.
She couldn't hold back.
Ivan, quick, run!
Yeah.
She couldn't hold back.
Hold on. I have a quote from Amy, okay, about agency.
Let her get on
recruiters.
first. Let's hear. Let her
Hang
on.
on.
Well, I don't think there's any room for her. There's 9 of us.
Rich
here
Roll,
already.
there's always
the
room.
secret
Oh,
there's
hiring
always
room.
room.
Oh, this is
David.
gonna, Ivan,
How
this is the
dare you.
prelims.
Now
Oh.
we're a diverse
There we
community.
go.
Okay, yeah,
Power
finally
diverse.
there's a woman. Why don't a lot of women call into the show? It's all a boys club here. Are
We have
like
better
Animal-
shit to do, I
All
guess.
boys club,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
Okay, Amy Miller, may I quote
Dang.
you? I've got a quote
You
from
can. I had a minute. My meeting ended early. I thought I'd come see what you jackals
Okay,
are up
this
to.
is what Amy meant. This is the lesson. Here's the lesson that I drew from Amy. Oh, Nick's still here. Yeah, here's the
Please
lesson
shouldn't call
I
us
drew from
hyenas.
Amy. This is more proof that hiring managers are dopes, okay? Although she didn't draw that. She said, every time one of my internal clients asks me to engage with an agency, I ask if she has the approval to pay the fee out of her budget. Every time they change their minds. I've had agencies blame me for screwing up their deals, but all I'm doing is making sure they get paid, okay?
I don't
those
work for
idiots
free.
are
I don't want
dealing-
you to.
That's
What?
right.
Yeah, but those
Mm.
guys, why are they so stupid?
I
Because
think
they
this
have
is what
quotas to reach
happens
too.
when they just get resumes. Like you're just handing them. You're already giving them the goods. Why would I buy the milk? Or why
Do
would I
they
buy
have
the cow?
contracts?
Here's
Now?
the
Wait,
milk.
are these recruiters just
No.
sending? Oh well, there's some morons then.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm
That's what
saying.
Derek said.
That's what I'm
Agreed.
saying.
you're just protecting people from themselves with their own.
Are you
stupidity.
Man
selling a
cannot
piece
survive
of
by
paper?
milk alone.
Yeah.
Right. Are you
That's-
selling a
that's
piece
crazy.
of paper or are you selling the recruiting process?
Right.
There
If
you
you're
go.
leading with a piece of paper, it is automatically transactional and my hiring manager thinks, oh, well, here's a resume. I can just do whatever I want with it. That's not true.
And they should. Honestly, the recruiter that does that
Oh.
just sends a blind resume or a resume in general. They should get screwed, quite frankly. It's embarrassingly stupid, cheapens the industry.
Totally.
So absolutely.
Totally
That's why I
agree.
like
Excuse me.
Rich.
Michael,
Once again,
anybody who's got a rec open for 45 days can afford to use an agency if they want. If they haven't
Not my
been
money. I
paying
don't
for
care
They
how
can
they
afford
do
it.
it.
for
There's
45 days.
There's affording and then there's getting a contract signed first.
Oh, no
If you're just
question.
sending a
But
resume.
if you can't find the money, you're just, I mean, hiring managers say, I don't have money for an executive recruiter. I don't have money to hire somebody as a contractor. I'm like, the job's been open 45 days. The job normally takes 45 to 60 days to get them here. You got 3 months of unpaid salary. You got money.
And it's just-
All day long they
Yeah.
do.
And it's not just the salary that you're missing out on. It's the fact that you're non-productive.
That's right.
You can't move the next
Hurting your
space on the
business.
monopoly board to make more money for the company and
Hold
make
on
more
one
money
sec.
for
Okay, hold on one sec.
everybody.
Wait a sec. This isn't,
Folks,
people like to, no, people like to say this is a gotcha show. And I say it isn't usually, but Amy just nailed her friend because he told us the best way to do business development. Mario asked him how. He said, send me a resume with notes. You're saying that's not the way to do it.
I personally
Yeah.
would not do that. I
We
did
don't do
years
that.
and years ago. I did all the time. I mean, I was
No.
trained to
No,
do that too,
I
but then
never
I
do
stopped
that.
doing it.
Never.
No,
Very
I
much.
never do. Excuse me, Amy.
Go
Then
ahead.
what about MPCs? I mean, we're not sending a resume. We're sending a capshot of the candidate. So
So here's
how
the
about that?
reality, okay? And I've talked about this on my show, the Recruiting in Yoga Pants AMA Friday over on YouTube. Go check it out.
Great show. I endorse it.
Plug.
and my blog. So I do talk about this, and here's where this falls apart for me, okay? Especially if you're dealing with the candidate who is your MPC. We foster, not all of us, not this fine group, but some of us in this industry foster this idea that, oh, hey, I'm your advocate and I'm going to go find you a job. Bullshit, you're doing business development. And 99% of the time when I had a successful MPC, I got a job order that had absolutely nothing to do with that person's background. It was a way to get my foot in the door. It was a way to most placeable candidate. It was a way to just show like, hey, here's what I'm capable of.
I knew I had to say, okay, we've got an ESL audience here, okay? Okay.
Yeah, but Amy, what's the difference if you're doing MPC? You're still marketing. If you
well, first of all, MPC is
MPC. Not everybody's over the age of 40 who listens to this thing.
Okay, I just got a message, okay? Not everybody.
Hey guys, just so you know, everybody that listens to this is here right now.
I think so.
I gotta say, I agree. Okay, MPC is most placeable candidate. Okay, so you've got a very good candidate, and you call a company and present her over the phone. Okay.
Let me tell you, I worked at Lucas Group. Okay, this is a very, very well-known, upscale agency, right? And I worked in the accounting and finance division, and every recruiter in that office, and there were like 25 of us, were MPCing Ingrid from Big Four for 3 years.
Yeah.
Ingrid never took an interview. Ingrid never.
You never ate, never slept.
She's still their MPC today.
She is still the MPC today in Phoenix, Arizona. I guarantee it. So it's business development, y'all. Candidates shouldn't think that we're out here doing it for them because we're doing it for ourselves.
Rebuttal, Derek.
Who cares? It's a sales call. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at you, but here's where it becomes an issue. If you're pitching Ingrid or whoever, then yeah, it can be a conversation starter and it can kind of open the door. But then you also have the other side where it's like, oh, you have this person? Okay, great. Let me interview them. And you damn sure better, number one, have them, or number two, make sure that you're going to get the fee agreement signed and they're going to agree to your terms. Because a lot of times they think, oh, this is just a free resume.
But that's got nothing to do with MPC.
Remember an hour ago we had a discussion about whether selling is lying.
He's ruining the show.
Whether selling is lying.
Selling is selective truth.
Selling is selling.
Derek, you've got a chance to rebut her. You go ahead and say, Amy, you're a great girl, but I don't agree with you for this reason.
That's okay. One of us has to be wrong. It's not
MPCs totally work.
MPC works, but it's got to be real. This concept of you got Ingrid as a phantom, whoever. If you have a good candidate and you know the right people to call.
But here's the funny thing about that, Andrew. This is the God's honest truth. She was a real person. She was a real accountant who worked for Big Four, and she was good friends with our branch manager. And she's like, hey, Carrie, if you find me a great job, I'll think about it. Go ahead. And so Carrie's like, hey, guys, everybody MPC Ingrid.
That's hysterical.
And it's the truth. One of the biggest complaints I've heard from internal recruiters is that they got sold on how great this massive recruiting agency is. The problem is you were sold something by a salesperson, not by the actual recruiter doing the actual job. Unless you're working with someone like a Rich or Michael, they're doing full desk. They're not only are they getting agreements signed and dealing with the fees, they're also doing the billing. Jerry does this as well. But when you get into the really big companies, salespeople are just, their quota is how many times can I get a company to sign on the dotted line so they can throw up their logo on their web page and say, hey, look, we're working with Amazon and Amy Miller. We're working with this person over at Microsoft. We're awesome. We're so cool. They're not really working
companies
with them
as an agency. Hell no. Hell no. Small to mid-sized business. That's where your money's at. I would never touch a national account.
I want somebody that's hungry. And if it's that case, and if I'm being forced to do it, then you damn Skippy, I'm going to get on the phone with their recruiters and I'm going to find out exactly how technical they are. And I'll ask them questions about stuff that happened 20 years ago. Ever heard about mainframe? How about Vax VMS? And when I get this blank look on their face, I'm like, okay, so you don't even know the history. So
it looks like this, because I don't know what he's talking about.
But even when we get to like the Java suite of tools, JavaScript used to just be JavaScript. Now it's an entire suite of different JavaScripting tools for different marketing capabilities and selling and front end development attached to its back end. You need to keep up with this stuff.
Okay,
These are the guys,
so
these are
the
the people.
technical, we got the
Amy, Rich,
point. Look, I'm the show that cuts people off, okay? And I'm cutting you off right now.
well, there's a
Got the point.
shocker.
Does anybody, before I go on, there's so many people here. We got people who don't usually call in. Anybody got something they want to talk about with Derek or just broadcast about? Anybody? I'll give you time to think about it. I'm going to do an ad for my good friend, Nick Livingston.
Wait,
from
has he paid you?
No, we're friends, okay?
No, if he hasn't paid you, don't say that. We don't need to hear that. I want to hear
plug
Derek.
Clang. I plug Clang. He doesn't pay. If someone comes to the show, I'll plug them. Clang.so.
I'll give you
It's an
$5.
ATS. He's an IT recruiter, and he created his own ATS.
How about
Check him
this?
out.
Animal, let's skip the ad. Can I just place one link in the chat for an example of a candidate on NBC?
Bring
I don't
it.
think he can
Go
stop
ahead.
you.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
know,
Stop
Get this-
you.
skip the ad. I'm just gonna paste the
Hello,
link.
Permission, come on.
the NPC stuff,
Uploading
right?
your
So it's
own
by
LinkedIn
definition-
profile doesn't count.
By definition, this NPC stuff is that you send this, but you
No.
know that this person will not
NBC's
change the
work-
job or what?
Hold
Like,
on.
you know
If it's
that's
a
the
real
Ivan wants to
candidate,
say something.
the
I'll let
hiring
Ivan say.
manager
I'll let
really
Ivan
talk
say
to him.
something about NPCs. Go ahead.
So is this like that you know that you will not actually place the person, or did I misunderstood that? Like,
That's what her office did. They had this sort of fake candidate who was really good, just as a bait and switch.
The
That's what it
intention was
essentially.
to
That's where Amy
get
learned all
job
her skills
orders.
from.
That's it.
I was
The
talking
intention was to get
about
job
an actual
orders.
candidate whom we spoke with. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Ingrid was a real person. I want to.
We heard about it.
This is a
Somebody
real
else wanted to say
person, but we
something.
never placed her.
Look, you're the guest next week. You can fight all you
Hey,
want.
Nick,
Somebody else
I'd
wanted
like to
to
see
say
that link.
something.
We
Who
should
was
bring
it?
Ingrid on here.
Was it Andrew? Did you?
Yeah, I got a question for Derek. I got a
Go
question.
ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right.
No.
I
The
saw,
answer's no.
I saw
Andrew's
this
a
in a
fighter
thread.
today. Andrew's a bit
Hey,
of a
hey,
fighter today.
before Andrew, you gotta wonder how Ingrid, how that next like all industry meeting went for her. Like she shows up and everybody's like, "Hey, I hear you're looking for a job." Sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
Derek, internal recruiters, should internal recruiters, I'm not talking about a manager, you manage in Rex, should they get paid the same as internal sourcers?
Yes.
Ooh.
Assuming
No,
they're
I'm not managing a team. I'm working Rex. Do you pay them the same?
Yes.
yes. Are we talking same scope of work, same level? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They're doing their due
like they have the
diligence. So
same
am I.
compensation grade, whatever, not one versus the other.
They're taking
Absolutely.
They
They
sources are
both
taking
should get 40,000.
I'm sourcing right now. I'm sourcing right now for recruiters. And I'm taking
That'll cover
off
about
a-
10 minutes of my day, Ernie.
I'm taking a big piece off of their plate by giving them quality candidates, just like a Rich or Michael would do. So I expect to get paid for my expertise. I can look at a resume and say, I see bullshit, or I can see a resume and say, this might be the person I'm going to call. Now I'm the type of sourcer that actually physically does call them and does kind of a quick general pre-screen before sending it off to the recruiter.
Yeah,
like
that
Amy,
means
for
most of the
example,
time,
so that
the
Amy
sourcer
knows
does
what she's getting
90% of
herself
the
into.
job. The sourcer does 90% of the job most of the time these days, because it's not just name gen, okay?
90% of the job.
Yeah.
90%.
Are you serious?
He finds the candidate and then he goes out and qualifies them and then he
No,
hands it
no,
to
no.
somebody and says, call them up.
Nope. No.
And that's 90%.
Yeah.
90%. No way.
God.
What does the other 10% include? Because that's my job,
Yeah,
and I'd really
I'm
like
going
to
to cross
know.
my arms on this one
You
too.
hand it off to the hiring manager.
You're a specialist.
That's all I do. So my
They-
sourcer, I have 5 sourcers. Okay,
Yeah.
I have
You
5
got her
sourcers
started.
that work with my business. So what you're telling me is that these 5 sourcers are doing 90% of the job, and the only 10% that I do is what exactly?
Amy's got an easy job.
Okay, you know what?
She's got her
I-
finger out and
Amy,
everything,
I'm going to
dude.
save that for next week, okay?
We got a
Okay,
finger
I'm
wag.
gonna remember this.
We got a finger wag going.
How's that foot taste, animal?
No
Definitely
way.
I can't wait to
I'll
hear
fight that.
how easy my
I'll fight
job
her to-
is. I'm so
Fight her to the
excited.
gra- to
I
the
can
death on that
guarantee you
one.
he doesn't say that again.
Okay, I will, but here's the point. I went back in 2016, only 5 years ago, Glenn Cathy, I don't know if everybody remembers him. He disappeared. Okay, but he showed a posting from that came up in my Facebook group at one of his talks. And here's what it asked. It said, how's it possible that 70% of a room full of corporate recruiters at a company have never heard of Boolean? Is that still true today?
I cook with that every day.
Andrew
This is a
Godofsky knows all
reduction.
the internal recruiters. Is it true that they're so ignorant? I remember when Maureen used to do these internal trainings for corporate recruiters, and they didn't know what LinkedIn was. Okay.
I'll say this. I think that in general, I think that today's corporate recruiter probably knows the ins and outs of Boolean in order to execute using things like Seek Out, Hire Tool, or other interfaces. So they understand the basic understanding of the and or. But if you ask them to execute a string, please, they're not even close.
Well, do you think that there's training for sourcers, that anyone's actually doing it in the internal setting when they get hired?
So here, I just want to speak on the Boolean thing just real quickly, okay? Because I interviewed at my company 2 years ago. It's only been a couple years. And my first interview of the day handed me a job description and said, go to that whiteboard and write a Boolean string. So we talk about it at least. I mean,
Okay, but
I guess
you know
I
what?
did okay because they hired me.
You were looking for a
Excuse me.
job for $500,000 a year. Okay.
And one more thing.
And I got it.
Excuse me. Sorry, Amy,
Yes,
you were
there
you were
are.
working with you were being interviewed by Amazon. They
Mhm.
interview in a different style altogether. Not all companies follow that system.
Well, no, I know. I mean, it is the one company that handed me the job description, and I actually looked at him and said, "Are you serious? You have Hire Tool, right? Like, I would have them build a Boolean string. Like, I have to do
Amy,
it
I could
manually."
listen to you all day. I could listen to you all day, but you're on next week, okay?
I know, and I gotta
Somebody else-
go. So
Well,
See you next
sorry.
week.
Now
Okay.
she's dumping me
I gotta
now.
go.
Bye,
Okay.
sis.
Enjoy, guys.
Okay. Yeah, that was the out. Okay. Anybody else want to talk before the show ends? Hold on. Is Andrew? Well, you know, Nick isn't taking the pitch, but you want to pitch your company? Nobody here knows what you do. I don't think.
Oh, I
Aspen
appreciate it.
Advisors.
Yeah, I run Aspen Analytics. We're a data analytics company. Companies send us their data and we tell them how they're doing in recruiting and retention. It's pretty
Okay.
simple.
Okay.
best
And
in the
again,
country.
Honit, HONIT.com is an online interview technology. Doesn't want to talk about it? Fine. Go to his site and you'll see it. I like it. Okay. Anybody else got something they want to talk about in the last few minutes of the show? Derek, anything special you want?
Well, I'll answer Ernie's question. Yeah, there's two people that come to mind immediately that teach sourcing and have taught sourcing from literally the very beginning to the ground up to doing real company sourcing. That is Nick Tortorici, who is just mind-bogglingly brilliant. And there's Johnny Campbell out of Dublin, Ireland for the European market. Both of these guys have transcended themselves in the sourcing world beyond many, many sourcers.
Okay, but Ernie
Is it
asked if
Nick or Mark?
people are
I thought it was
actually
Mark
taking.
Tortorici.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
I've taken Mark's class. I
Yeah,
was
Mark.
enthused.
Oh, maybe there's two Tortoricis. Is it? He said, "Is it Nick or Mark?"
Nick,
No,
Mark,
Mark Tortorici.
I'm pretty sure it's Mark.
Yeah, M-A-R-K.
look them
Yeah.
both up. They're both good.
It's out of San Francisco now. Or
The
that
thing
Bay
is,
Area.
no one's going to figure out how to spell Tortorici. Okay. I don't think there's any Italians here. Anybody else? Mario is burning to say a few things. You have some questions now. I know Amy's gone. You don't want to. Maybe you got nothing for anybody else.
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm just keeping quiet.
Clang, do you have anything, Clang, you want to talk about?
Interview notes about the candidates are very important.
Okay, last
Go
question.
on
I'll
time,
ask the
Dr.
last
Phil.
question. Recruiting hours. Somebody said, I try to get everything done between 8 and 5, so I don't have to do any work at nights or on weekends, although I will take calls if I have to. Is that true? You're shaking your head there, Derek?
Yeah, it's not recruiting.
No?
That's
Anybody
impossible.
else?
No way.
No.
Hey, I've taken calls at 8 a.m. in the morning, man.
I've been on calls at 4 o'clock. in
My
the morning.
time. No, I'm talking my time, 8 a.m. From 6 in the night to 8 a.m. in the morning. I've done calls at that time.
And you know, that's the difference when a person thinks of themselves as an employee versus a professional.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that if you know you work all kinds of crazy hours, the job is the job. You fill positions and you can take your time whenever you want to, take the afternoon off or whatever, but
What's
get a
Nick
good
laughing
job.
about? Why is he laughing at Ernie? No. Nick, what's going on
Sorry,
with you?
sorry, you just took my breakfast. I was laughing.
Okay. Derek Zeller, thank you. You know what? I think it was good that Michael G. Cox told me to advertise. We don't have guests anymore. We have guest panelists. Okay, so that means it indicates the conversation can move around all over the place.
Yes.
Just so you
As
know,
it always does.
okay, I'm going to suggest that you change your headline on LinkedIn from Just Human, which is too modest, to The Amazing Zeller. It sounds
True.
it sounds like a
I do like
magician.
that.
Amazing Zeller.
And
Yeah,
then you
sounds
can
nice.
say, one
When's-
conversation with me will transform your life. Okay, clang.so, raise your hand. If you want an ATS, take a look at him. Honeit, HONEIT.com. Raise your hand, Nick. Okay, Aspen Consulting, he's the data man. I don't know what he does. I can't remember from one show to the next. MarioTheRecruiter.com. You got good audio today, even if though you've turned into a shadow. TheSalesRecruiter.com. Derek Zeller, everybody.
And the recruiting shadow.
Thank